Welcome everybody to Bite the Bullet. I am Jay Reace, aka Mr. Positivity, and allow me to introduce the fellow Bite the Bullet panel. In no particular order, I'll, as always, bringing the Dfactor to the conversation. My dude, D, what's up, my guy?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. Testing out this new mic tonight. Yeah, no. What up? What up? What up?
Right. Also, our resident hype girl, Christina Garcia.
Hey.
Right. And also, of course, our import from the north, Trish Strong Talk. What is up, my dear?
She boxed him. She boxed him up.
All right, everyone. We feeling good? Are we ready to get into this discussion?
Oh, yes.
Ladies, know, right?
Ready?
Christina's not ready. She's not sure.
I'm not sure, but we're gonna get it in.
All right,
let's go.
So everybody listening, whether you're black, white, Asian, male, female, trans, young, old, or in between, the idea of fairness has probably come into play at least once in your life. And as gender, cultural, racial tensions increasingly yell for equal treatment, is there a such thing as fairness? After all, life isn't fair, or is it? And whether it is or isn't, can fairness actually be defined? So today, I would like to ask the group, based off of our ending last week, which if you didn't tune in last week, make sure you watch it and or listen. Is there a such thing as fairness, and how is it defined? Panel, who wants to go first? How is it? Man.
I don't think there's any such thing as fairness.
Ooh.
Throw them crickets in there. Throw those crickets.
I don't think
know,
there's
right?
any such thing as fairness. I mean,
Nah, me neither.
I don't think there's any such thing. I think there's, oh my God, that's like a whole different topic. I just think that there's so much politics and everything. If you look at this pandemic alone that we're in, the rich is getting richer, the middle class is getting poor, and the poor is getting poorer. And why is that?
True.
Right? So, on my feed a couple of days ago, I saw that there was a survey or a report that came out that over 7 million people in the Congo are at the edge of starvation. 7 million people. And okay, well, if life is fair, we're seeing people buying yachts. We're seeing people going on these extravagant vacations, having $200,000 weddings and birthdays. How is that fair? There's people going hungry. Like, there's just so much things to touch on. This is such a...
well, I tend to, sorry to cut you off, Trish, but I tend to wonder, if someone works all their life to build their wealth, why is it fair for them to go help out somebody else? You know what I mean? And like, trust me, like I'm a firm believer of like, it's our responsibility to help other people. But I understand when people say, yo, I built my wealth. Why do I have to help anybody else? They can do what I did.
Well, skin color. I will tell you, there could be a white woman. I don't need to call it skin color, but I will. Yeah. That is working hard, getting up 4 o'clock in the morning and building their business, and they're a multimillionaire. But I know Black women and women of color who get up 4 o'clock in the morning, work maybe 3 times harder, and maybe have 3 jobs, work really hard, but they cannot even make the amount of money that woman of color who has had privilege their life, who's had that amount of privilege, can't even make that money in a year that they're making in a month. So, I mean, people can work hard, but it's what the cards that you're dealt with. And that's not fair.
Yeah, I like that part about the cards you're dealt with. Because I always ask this question, because, you know, we have spiritual people, we have religious people, and I always ask this question. Where are we before we come here? You know what I mean? And nobody could ever answer that question. They know where we're going after here, either heaven or hell. But when I say, where are we coming from? Yeah. And they're like, well, I don't know. So I say, I want you to envision this. Your soul is in line, waiting to get its orders. Let's just call it orders. Me and Jay was in the military. Waiting to get your orders. Oh, I got my orders. Oh, I'm going to America. White family, rich. Oh, that's what's up. Oh, I just got my orders. I'm going to the poorest country in Congo. No running water. Fairness the unfairness is starting before we even get here. You know what I mean? So I researched water.org. I bring up the water thing because I was listening to a joke last night, and I was just like, that makes so much sense, because fairness really comes from first world problems. It does, because we'll be like, man, I can't believe they don't have clean drinking water. They don't have running toilets, but yet in the first world, we actually deposit our waste into clean water. So where is the fairness there? Our clean water actually gets dumped in. Like, you literally, you know what I'm saying? You sit down and dump in clean water, and other countries don't even have clean running water or toilets to sit on. Some schools, like, man, the numbers are crazy. So what is fairness is pretty much within your house, and then outside of your house. Oh, that's not fair. They get to park that way. Oh, their house, they get to paint that way, and the HOA let them do that, and then the fairness breaks out of that, and then you got the color barrier, and then you got the money barrier, and then you got the man. Fairness does not exist. It's a word that's created for people that want to bitch about things. That's all it is. That's not fair. That's
all about the money, right? It's all about
it's all about the green.
It's all about the money. And you brought up something just now. It's like, how can you have third world countries that don't even have clean water, and here we are having driverless vehicles, even like trucks. Like, I mean, groceries being delivered to your house. Like, how is that even something in the 21st century?
I had a mentor tell me years ago that fairness is simply your educational level.
Really?
I don't know that that's true, though, because I feel like you could not be educated and still be super wise because of experience, right? Now, let's take it back to politicking, because I don't usually get into politics, but like, if you come down to what our country is built on is democracy, right? So it's like, the harder you work, the more you're rewarded. And then you compare it to socialism, and socialism is the fairness. And there's a reason why socialism doesn't exist. Does it really, though? Is it anywhere? Does it actually exist anywhere?
There's a couple countries that have like pieces of socialism, but I don't know as a whole.
Okay.
If like a whole country has socialism.
Right. So it's so rare that you see that. And I'd even be interested to see what that looks like in the countries that are. Another thing that Trish brought up that I think that also really equates to fairness not really being a thing is what you talked about, equality of pay. Right? It's like every woman makes 82 cents to $1 of a man. And it's even wider of a gap when it comes to women of color. So it is a stated fact, like in our nation, period, that is exactly what happens according to the Bureau of Labor. So it's like, how can we talk about fairness without acknowledging? Again, it goes back to kind of what we talked about last week, right? It's like we get to acknowledge that these things are happening, and how do we create that change? Well, we get to talk about it, right? We get to build on the awareness.
It's funny that you bring that up, Christina, because all I can remember when Monique had that falling out with Netflix. Like, they wanted to give her this absurd low amount of money for who she is. Right?
I think it was 40,000 or something like that.
It was something crazy, right? Yeah. And she was like, no, of course not. And she was trying to get everybody to boycott against it. And she made this whole big thing, which rightly so. I'm like, that's not my point. My point is, I believe it was Dave Chappelle. And don't at me if it wasn't Dave Chappelle, but I believe it was Dave Chappelle. He was like, Netflix tried to do me the same exact way. The difference, though, is that I got on my phone and I called a few of my boys, like Jerry Springer, Chris Rock, and some other people. And I said, hey, this is what Netflix is wanting to give me and wanting to do. How did you negotiate blah, 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 blah with blah, 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 blah? And they talked it out. I think there's a lot of that. We're not having the conversations, or people aren't having the conversations to get that fair and equal treatment, because as Christina was saying, there's this whole big pay gap. How many people, when you work in the 9-to-5 sector, you tell people what you make? No one really ever talks about how much they get paid. And that is built into the system. If we shared how much we got paid, everything will be completely different. Because then you find like, oh, wait a minute, this person does the same job I do, but they making more than me.
Or you find out that you train that person and they're making more than you.
Exactly. Right?
Most definitely.
Right? Exactly. So I tend to wonder if that's more of it that we don't come out of our own shells and don't have those conversations that we probably should be having to begin with.
But I think in society too, it's the way how society's been built from way back when. It's who you know and what you rank that determines fairness as well. Because I mean, I could know so many people and I could get away with so many things, or I have so much hookups. The same way how you said Dave Chappelle, spoke to all these other comedians and stuff like that. I'm not sure what Monique's relationship is or how many other people she knows. I mean, she knows people within I don't think there's not a lot of female comedians, right? So I think it's who you know, and that's number one. And number two is money, or they interchange with each other. And that determines how fair your life is going to be.
That's true. Hey, Jay, you said something before Christina spoke, and you said it's your education level.
Well, I had a mentor. He was trying to make an analogy about some other stuff, but he was simply saying, based on your knowledge, is how fair life is going to treat you. So if you, like, if you're a baby, like you expect certain things from your parents, but if you don't get what you need, like you're not knowing that's not what you need. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So remember last week I was like, so fairness, let's say this guy, highly educated, the business went under. So now he's homeless, dirty, but still educated, can definitely qualify for a job, but he just can't dress the position or get a resume in. So where does the fairness in there? So then it goes back to, who do you know? Does that guy still have people that can help him out? And if he did, why is he homeless, and why is he fighting to get back into the job force? Because nobody's going to take you as an interview if you're not, properly shaved or got on a gray suit with the blue tie or the blue tie with the gray. There's so many things you have to do before you get into the interview room. And a guy that's highly educated that fell on bad luck and is homeless, it's not built for fairness then, because you got to go through so many loopholes to get back in.
Well, I tend to wonder, using this hypothetical situation, I know there are millions, or not millions, but there's several millionaires and billionaires who, if you were to ask them, if you lost all your money, would you be able to get it back? 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, a lot of times they'll say, I'll be able to make it back like within a month, because they already have that knowledge. They have that know-how. So if a person who's knowledgeable, so if a person is educated and lose their job, good chances are they probably will have hard times for a very long time because they won't know how to do anything else. But someone who's knowledgeable and knows it has experience and are able to just go out and do, and they've learned those lessons, they could probably get back everything they lost. I mean, with the exception of loved ones and stuff like that. But
I feel like now what you're talking about is like the openness to a possibility. Because I mean, if you're restricting yourself to a specific degree based on your education versus someone who has like the capacity to think beyond the piece of paper that identifies who they are by their career, then you're really not really talking. I don't think that that's like really equality or fairness. I think you're talking about like being open to possibility, like how open is someone's mind to creating revenue, I guess. And maybe I'm going off on a tangent here.
No. But I think you have a fair point.
I would also want to ask if fairness is interrelated with education, then why isn't education free? And and why isn't it available to everyone?
That's the elephant in the room right there. Right.
Because if it really has to do with fairness, then there are so many naturally brilliant people who can't afford to go to school, who can't afford the education. They rely on scholarships, but sometimes it just doesn't happen because they have to go work 3 jobs to help support their family, right? So if really and truly it was wrapped around education and fairness, if they link together, then education should be free, and there shouldn't be so many young girls that are in the Middle East or in Africa or in India that are not allowed to go to school.
Right. It's because back in the day, the people that had the books knew knowledge was power.
Exactly.
So the
Book
churches,
of Eli, that movie, Book of Eli.
Right. So the churches collected all the books, and that's why churches are always in the middle of a college. Most colleges came from churches because churches had all the knowledge, and if the poor people had the knowledge that the people with money had, then there would be any control. Because if there's no knowledge, you can't attempt to justify anything you do. You can't get any justice because you can't speak for yourself. If you're dumb, illiterate, you can't speak for yourself. And the folks that had all the knowledge didn't care. So they kept the books. You got the knowledge, you got the power.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I tell my kids often is that back in slavery days, anytime they wanted to keep people suppressed, they would take the books away. They wouldn't let them read. They would keep them uneducated. And they would often say, if you ever want to hide anything from a newt, put it in a book.
Put it in a book. Yeah.
Right. Damn. So then when we talk about equality, guys, or equality and fairness, like what is the difference? Like what do you guys do you guys know if there's a difference? Do you see a difference? Fairness and equality?
I don't think fairness is, I don't think it's possible. I don't think in the world we live in, fairness is possible. I believe that equality is possible, but it's also a thin line between both of them.
Yeah.
There's just so much things to address. I think education is like number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Trish that fairness is just an illusion. Like I think fairness is whatever you do in your house. Once you go into the real world, that's just out the window. But equality is something that we can actually put laws into place to make everything equal and give everybody what they're supposed to have. How long that takes, I don't know. That's probably another podcast episode.
Yeah, it can't be a world without envy, man, or jealousy.
Could
you imagine a world without jealousy? Because at the end of the day, we all could drive Corollas, but there's people that build $1 million vehicles because rich people don't want to drive a damn Corolla next to you because we have to build jealousy and we have to build, a hunger for something. And most of the time, it's the end goal is material.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you look at a lot of the commercials or even the news, a lot of the way they present information is either fear-based or making you really, really want it, right?
Yeah, right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, but at what point when now we're talking about all driving the same car and having this equality, at what point and then is your individualization of like who you are taken away because now there's like everyone's driving the same car, there's nothing that differentiates you based on materialistic things.
Right.
Well see, that's the funny thing though.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say the funny thing about it though is that like I'm a firm believer of socialism. I think the world would thrive if we actually did have socialism. That's like my belief. And the reason why is because we got 4 people here, 2 men, 2 women, right? None of us want the same thing. In essence, like we might want a TV or we might want books, but we typically don't want the exact same thing at the exact same time, right? Or even still, if we were to drop a single conversation into this, like we do, we're all going to have different point of views. No one is the same. We're similar, but we're not the same. Yeah. So people have this idea of like, oh, if there's socialism, there's going to be chaos. I won't be able to get what I want. Well, yeah, you will, because your neighbor, the person down the block, they're not going to want what you want. They might want something similar, but they're not going to want what you want particularly. So I think it's like you're saying, it's the envy, it's just jealousy, all that lovely stuff.
Because check it out. All this crap started because somebody had a bigger stick. You know what I mean? Because everything on earth is free.
I'm talking to Trish like that about bigger.
You know what I mean?
I was about to say, what are you implying there? Bigger stick. No, we all started out naked. Supposedly.
Panel, check this out.
Bigger stick.
Panel, check this out. Before you're born, before all this started, everything you need to survive on earth is free. But somebody with a bigger stick said, nope, if you want to eat, you're going to trade or pay for something. Because everything here you can survive is free. You won't have to pay for something. But somebody built a society where we had to trade goods and make money and do this and work and do all that. Mm-hmm. Somebody with a bigger stick said, yo, we need control.
Yo, I'm still mad about that.
Yeah,
if I could find the grave of that person, dude, you know how many times I would piss and crap on that. Like,
who started this?
Because right now, think about it. Because right now, we all could be sitting around butt naked, eating, doing whatever we want to do. But no, someone, like D said, someone had to sit there and come up. You know what? I don't want to do nothing. I want these people to do it, and I get what they got. That makes me mad. I don't know about y'all, but
You got me right around when you said sitting around naked. You got me right. I'm mad with you too. I'm mad.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Oh man.
That's why babies cry, man. They come out and they be like, what? I was chilling. What is this? Right, I gotta go to school for what?
Go to school and learn
right.
education system.
Oh man, and they wonder why kids are mad because you making them do all this stuff that nobody wants to do. And as adults, we don't want to do it. Yeah, exactly, right.
And then you want to become an adult, and then all of a sudden you realize and you just running a restaurant, a laundromat, a janitorial service out of your house, and you ain't getting paid for it. Nobody told me I had to make 3 meals a day, wash dishes, wash clothes, clean. As an adult, that's all we do.
Life is not fair, okay? Suck it, buttercup.
Exactly. We clean every day just to clean every day.
Right? Oh, man.
So how would you guys, if you guys were going to enforce or help create equality, since we are already saying fairness is not a thing, what are ways that you would implement that? Like what ways that you do besides education? Trisha is like education, like everything needs to be available. How else would you guys implement it? We talk about how it's not real or not. Yeah. How fairness is not a real thing, but how, what are different things that you guys think that you would want to see happen?
Okay, D, do you have something? Because like, I've been thinking about this for years, so I'm ready. Like, you got something?
Nah, I mean, it's just it's a world of magic. I can't think of anything. Jay, what you got?
Okay, so
maybe we can feed off of you. Let me grab a spoon and a bowl. See what you got, brother.
So you ready? Because I told you I've been thinking about this for years. So like, see, my thing is like, I feel we need to go back to some type of barter system. All right. So we get a island, a patch of land, whatever, right? Everybody who lives on the everybody who lives on the island has to pull their weight. They either grow something, they make something, like whatever they want to make. Like it's their choice, whatever they want to do, right? Whatever they can contribute to the community. All that stuff is traded within the community. Plus, it gets traded to like the World Economic Commerce, because the government got to get their piece. So we got to give it out to them. But that, in essence, is how it honestly could work. If we all, and I know some people are going to be like, well, somebody's going to want what you got. Somebody's going to want what your wife. Then we kick those people out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, you know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. Like, if you go back, the police were not established, I think until like 1800 or something like that, or maybe like early 1900.
When slavery was abolished, that's when the police were.
Right? So up until that point, there were no police. Everybody self-checked themselves. They checked their neighbors. Everything. I'm not gonna say things were peaceful because I know they weren't. People are gonna be people. No. There are some bad people in this world who are gonna do things, and you put them in check. It's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but I'll get off my high horse because my voice is getting all extra high and squeaky. So I'll stop.
And I'm telling you, that Mr. Positivity voice. That Mr. Positivity voice.
Oh, he coming.
Yeah.
Like what?
But that's a scary world, man. Because I think that's pretty much where we started from, and then as it grew. The guy with the bigger stick or the woman with the bigger. I don't
think we can ever go back to that just because of
probably not
the way the world is. I think personally, I think as we grow.
Well, there are places in the rainforest that still have.
Trust me, I would love to go to the rainforest or go.
Take me with you, girl. Take me with you.
I could live.
There's still some tribes that haven't seen technology.
Yeah, and they don't even want us to be. They don't want us there because they can't. I think they were talking about like. Us bringing in diseases or whatever. Plus, I would, what? I want my own tribe.
This is the biggest disease.
Oh yeah,
we've ever introduced to the world.
Yeah.
But I think it starts with. I think for me, as I get older and I learn and I try to explore more, it's my ignorance level decreases because, of course, education, brings that down. But meeting people and educating my children and educating people around me about not just about being fair, but I've told my kids, and maybe people will look at me and tell me this is wrong, but I said to them, there's 2 things that people can never take from you. One is being Black, and the second one is your education. And live those things up. And my son kept saying, Mom, why do you keep telling me and keep reminding me that I'm Black? And I'm like, I have to keep reminding you because when you step out this door, that's what people see you as. And secondly, one, they can't take that away from you and they can't take away Blackness. But I really think that, us, how we talk to our kids, even to our family members, because I'm sure we have those family members, 1 or 2, who, think they're higher or lower than or higher than certain people in the family because of what they drive or they like to show off. And I've put people in check, And people think that, maybe my delivery sucks sometimes. They think that I'm barking at them, and I'm working on that. But we need to keep our circle and our people around us in check when it comes to being fair or how we treat others, especially within our family.
Yeah, because I'm reminded I'm Black every day. And just to tell y'all a little story, this happened 2 or 3 days ago. I'm headed to Target to pick up some birthday gifts for my daughter. And I get out the car. I pull up in the Audi. Boom, park it. Beep, beep. Put my mask on.
I like how he had to let everyone know he has an Audi. But go ahead, D.
As I'm walking towards Target, I see a Caucasian lady get out her van. And then the daughter run out. They're all jipper. The mother looks back, and then she looks forward. She reaches over to her daughter, pulls her close. And the mother says something because the daughter
look back.
So I was like, these what? Are you serious? So I just crossed the street. I wanted to say something. Nobody wants to.
Yeah.
I'm reminded every day. The only time I really got respect is when I wore my uniform. But as soon as I took my uniform off, clutch your purse,
What exactly, yo? Exactly.
Jay, I know you witnessed it. You got your uniform on. Hey, sir, how you doing? Thank you. Put on regular clothes.
Yeah.
It's straight fear.
Oh yeah, all the time. I remember there were several times I could be in uniform. I get mad respect everywhere I go. I take the uniform off. I can go into the same area that I was before. They would barely even recognize me.
Yeah.
Even talk to me.
Won't even speak to you.
Yeah.
Christina, we need to get us some uniforms.
Girl, you know what I'm saying? D got his security.
And go to the go-go.
Shout out to anybody up in the Baltimore area. We talking about go-go.
Yeah.
It's not the same kind of go-go that Trish knows, though.
Yeah.
Right. In Canada, go-go is go-go to
go-go's in the Caribbean. It's strippers, okay?
Oh
yeah, down in the Caribbean. Yeah, that is.
Go-go dancers.
That is.
Oh man. Put on some strobe lights. It's gonna become like Bite the Bullet After Dark.
Bite the Bullet After Dark.
I'm gonna have to change, guys.
Life coach and strong talk.
I know, right? Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Dfactor.
That sounds real sexy. Sounds real
man.
life coach and strong talk after dark. Catch a fly.
Hey, you never fun fact. I'll tell you guys real quick. I don't think D might know, but you guys, I actually worked in a strip club once as a bouncer.
How would D know? I need to know the part where D might know. Because I remember you saying that. Let's go. So D might know because I think I shared it on TikTok or maybe on my live or something like that. So that's why I said D might know. So, but no, I used to work in a strip club and I'm happy to be a man. I don't want to be anything else other than a man. But watching men in a strip club, I'm just like, oh my god! Whoa!
Can I be a woman?
At a male strip club or
no? I worked at women strippers, but men would come in.
Oh, because you said watching males at a strip club.
So what was wrong if he was working at a male strip club? What was wrong?
Nothing.
With that?
Yeah, dude. What was wrong if I was at a male strip club working there, being a bouncer? What
you
was wrong?
should have been uncomfortable watching them. You're security. Why are you watching the dances?
Maybe he was trying to learn a thing or two. Maybe he was trying to learn a thing or two so he can go dance for his wife.
Exactly. Did you not see Magic? Did you not see Magic Mike? Those moves.
I did not see that movie. I did not see that movie.
He saw it twice.
No.
But there was one time I was at the strip. I was there and I was working, and there was this guy. He paid to have a private dance down in the champagne room, right? Which a lot of people champagne room, right? So we're like, okay, he gave her the money, whatever. And usually they go down there by themselves because anyone who pays for the champagne room is usually cool and legit. You usually don't have to worry, right?
Right.
So
because it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, right. It's fair. Yeah. So usually, a few moments later, my boss comes up. He's like, hey, I need you to go downstairs and talk to the guy. And I'm like, well, what's happening? He's taking his penis out. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, he's taking his penis out. Okay, sure. Yeah, let me go down.
Okay, I'll be right there.
Right. So
take my outing.
So the whole walk to the champagne room, I'm just like, what am I going to say to this dude? Am I just going to pull him up and bounce him out, or what? Do I say something? So as I go down,
don't fight with him.
So
whoa! As you go down, what?
It was downstairs. The champagne room was downstairs, so I had to go downstairs.
Just clarify.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I already said penis out. I should have corrected myself. But as I walked down the stairs to the champagne room, the stripper that was in there met me outside and was like, "Hey, he's a really nice guy, but I just don't want his penis out." I'm like, "So you don't want me to bounce? You don't want me to like kick him out?" She's like, "No, because he's a regular. He comes in all the time. It's just right now he's going through something, but just get control of the room."
And that gives him the right to take his penis out. Oh my!
I was trying to think of what was I going through that I was like.
So, like I said, this is the mentality that happens in the strip club, right? So I go in the room, and by this point, he already has it zipped up, and he's just chilling there. He's an older gentleman. He has to be like in his 60s, maybe 70s. He was older. So I go
kind of out, but it won't really out. I got you.
Yeah, but I go over to him. And I'm like, "Sir, they're telling me you're taking your penis out. You can't do that at all. We don't do that in this club." So the guy looks at me and he's like, "I just want her to touch it a little bit." Right? And I'm like, "Sir, no, we're not doing that. No, if you do it, I have to kick you out."
Right.
So the guy just looks at me. I look at her. And then I look back at him and I'm like, "Sir, she is in control. Whatever she says goes. If I have to come back down here, you're out."
Yeah.
From then on out. So I go back upstairs. Luckily, the dude doesn't do it again, but it's just like, I don't understand guys sometimes. I'm like, why?
So let me ask you something. If this was a male strip club and a woman pulled out her tits or pulled her pants down, would they have done the same thing, want to kick her out?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Well, here's the thing though. Like, because I've talked to bouncers who work in male strip clubs, and here's the thing: the man in that situation, like the male stripper, he himself probably could have handled that situation. Not everyone, but he probably could have handled that situation. But if he had to have escalated to security, they probably wouldn't have been quick to throw her out. They probably would have talked to her just like I talked to that guy, and then it probably, as long as she wasn't belligerent, then they probably would have threw her out.
Okay.
That's a good.
Hey, speaking of fair and clubs, ladies, when it's ladies free and you see men and standing in line paying for it, do you think, "Oh, this isn't fair," and get in line and pay to get in the club?
Oh,
you know what? I thought about that, and I think it's really stupid.
Wait, but what part is stupid?
That the woman going, I understand the logic behind it because they're
logic is
you're trying to get the woman in because usually
the men will follow
men and that will attack the men. I understand.
Yeah, that's Club 101. Yeah,
but I don't think it's fair, to be honest.
It's not fair at all. Absolutely, it's like a marketing gimmick, right? But the thing is, guys fall for it. They go.
Because men ain't thinking that deep. We're not. Like, men don't think that deep. They're just like, women. The women are free, so they're gonna be in there. So I'm gonna be in there.
It's in the barrel, son. Put on my best clothes.
Right. So I guess my also on that line of thought, is it also fair that most women get free drinks at a club? Not all the time, but a man will come and buy you drinks. Is that fair?
Because I look at it this way. A woman can have sex whenever she wants. A man has sex when he gets it. So he's gonna do whatever he wants.
Thank you. Somebody finally said it, because every time I used to say that, people are like, men can get it whenever they want. Yeah, okay.
No.
So there's certain things that a man would do.
I mean, there's different levels of getting it, but yeah.
So I tend to wonder: is our fairness more of a, I don't want to say sliding scale, but is it more of a diagonal thing versus a horizontal? You know what I mean? So like women can
get a wacky chart. There ain't no lineages in it at all.
It's all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here thinking maybe in a certain position you might get things, but in another one you don't. But then in the reverse,
I can get into a club, go to the VIP. I'll be all good. But if I gotta go to the golf club or I gotta go to, the executive club, you know what? I'm probably gonna have to stand aside, not just for the men, but we're going to talk skin color as well. Yeah. But I mean, there's different levels to this shit.
So many
exactly, because sometimes it's about the green, but it's also about how you look. Because me and my brother was with two other homeboys. Me and my brother was with two other homeboys, and we were in Miami, standing in line to get in the club. Me and my brother got in line to talk to the bouncer. He was like, "Hey, look, man, we might get a table. Boom, boom, boom. You think you let me and my brother in?" By the way, me and my brother look like twins. So they were like, oh yeah, man, where your friends at? The other two guys, not as attractive. So they see them walking up, they were like, hey, no, y'all gotta wait. Like, did we just witness that because we were attractive, we can get in the Miami club? But these two mugs lowered our standards. So it ain't just men, it ain't just women. Men, yeah. It's a benefit of attraction and money.
If you're good looking, I mean, it plays a
big role.
All I gotta say right now is like I feel kind of bad. Like that's never happened to me, D. Like I've always had to wait in line, so I don't know what that says about me. I don't know how to feel right now. I feel kind of bad.
When I had my hair totally blonde, I had my hair totally blonde, and I would, dress a certain way and go, I would get so much more attention than when my hair was a bit darker. And, so there's just so much stereotypes and so much stigma.
So much.
What's fair? That word shouldn't even exist anymore because I think it's just ridiculous.
Silly. It's so silly.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, think about pregnant
money,
women too.
ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What? No, you said pregnant women?
Pregnant women?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this the other day about like the difference of treatment that you get as a pregnant woman when you're pregnant. And I remember people be like, oh, you're so cute. Look at your belly. It's so cute. And then versus when you're a mom and you got a screaming child next to you, people look at you and treat you so much different. And it's like, I still have the same child with me, but yet you are treating me so different. So another place of like fairness doesn't play a role. And again, it goes back to what I think you and Jay were saying, Devin and Jay, about judgment.
Yep. That ain't right, because if you're carrying a baby, you get respect. But the fact that you had the kid and now you're in the hardest part of it, you should get much, much more respect. But now it's like
that's not how it is. That is not how it is.
I know. Yeah.
You can take fairness even into sports. When I look back in the Caribbean, I know so many guys, so many girls who are so athletic. They're just amazing, but they don't have the facility, the money, or to have trainers like certain people in the US, Canada, North America. Look at it even in Africa. Okay, if you look at the long distance runners, they're usually the ones that dominated. But I'm pretty sure if they had the facilities and stuff like that to do other sports, they could have been taken so much more, right?
I like that. Yeah. You know how they like to say, I'm glad you brought up the African athlete, because the African American athlete was built. We were genetically built. They took other strong slaves and made stronger slaves, because if it was the fact that we're black is the reason why we're athletic, then why the hell Africans ain't overrunning our sports?
Control. Again, right? You brought it up earlier. Control.
I mean, it's so many different things. If you look at sports like swimming, look at even little things like archery. There's so much things that, like my kids, to go horseback riding, it's so expensive. Even golf. Look at golf. It's a really expensive sport to put your kid in. But my son, my older son, he at one point in time, he wanted to play it. I could have encouraged him. Yeah. There's so many things.
My kids can't play golf because I stay away from anything that's called the Masters. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. So that's just me personally.
Things are just so out of reach for certain people of economic levels or even people of color, right? That when you talk about fair, there's just so many different aspects that we can talk about fair. Look at the Olympics, right? Like, look at gymnastics. It's only recently you probably see one or two Black girls in gymnastics, right? Previously, it was all white.
Because they had the facilities.
We couldn't afford to put our kids in gymnastics.
Yeah.
Right. I think
you know how many gymnastics folks I seen in the hood jumping on old mattresses that people threw away? They was in the hood killing it.
Yeah, you know how many times, like on the playground, like you remember those like those bars that we hate from, and everyone was splitting like it's. But yeah, I think it's exposure and what you have access to completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there's so many, when they talk about, the ghetto or these inner city kids and all that, you know what? That's their life is because of circumstances. It's not their fault. And if we as a society really want to talk about fair and equality, then these are the things that we need to be looking at. But are we? We just talk about it. So we're going to talk about it now, but what the heck is getting done about it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That is $1 million question,
right?
The $1 million question.
So I think the consensus with the group is simply that, fairness probably ain't a real thing. Like, it's not. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. And everybody defines it kind of how they choose to in the moment. Is that fair to say?
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Fairness doesn't exist, but I think equality, we get to work on having equality in our country.
Touche. Definitely. I feel you. So with that being said, I think right now might be a good place to transition to everybody's favorite.
The hot seat.
Nice. So D,
they're gonna make your seat hot.
So D, who is up? Who is there?
Trish is on the hot seat because Jay.
I'm not surprised. I'm not
surprised. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
That's
Trish,
why
here's your question.
They had a meeting, just the two of them. I bet you they planned this.
I bet you, girl.
Nobody knows what I'm gonna ask because
they're putting the women on blast first.
We wouldn't do that. Why would no? We're upstanding gentlemen. Wouldn't do that at all.
Let's go.
Trish, the relationship is great, but the sex is lousy. What do you do?
Sex is something that can always be worked on.
Give me more.
There's always sex is to. This is what I don't understand with people in relationships when they say this, that sex is not good. You don't just go in, and when you start off, it's not always good the first time. You build, you get experience. So
right.
if sex is not good with someone's one, because they probably don't know your body, they're probably insecure. Right. You're probably insecure. It's probably in a relationship. And if it's a relationship that's been on for years, there's lack of communication. Mm-hmm. So the problem is not sex, it's the lack of communication. Connection always be worked on.
It definitely has to be a connection. But what if you're an experienced person and you really don't have the tolerance for the unconfident man?
Boy, I got the tolerance to teach you.
You got to find the right woman. You got to find the right woman.
Right. Oh, my. Dang.
Trish is spoken. That's strong. Talk about strong talk. That's what's up. Christina, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I 100% agree that it's connection. Absolutely, sex can be worked on. I have been in relationships myself where sex is not subpar, and I have been open to many things, but it's a two-way street. Both people got to be willing to work on it together. But absolutely, with any relationship, when it comes to connection, it's about, like Trish said, communication. Yeah. Are we communicating about what it is that we're not vibing on, and where is the resentment being built that we're having resistance in that? Because I think that over time, when you don't have that connection in the bedroom, it absolutely messes with your sex life.
And it's a relationship. And what I want to say too, women are scared. I think women are scared to tell men about, the sex because they think it's going to, smash,
demoralize.
But it's how you say it. And it's the same thing with a man. I think a lot of men go to strip clubs. I think a lot of men cheat because there's certain things that they're not getting in the bedroom, that if they communicate that with their partner and try things, and it depends on who the partner is as well, that, certain things wouldn't be happening in relationships, or there wouldn't be extramarital affairs. And I've seen that, my ex, I was with someone for 17 years. So obviously he knew me inside out. So when I started a relationship, it didn't start off all that good, but I said to him, I go, listen, we're adults. And if there's something that is lacking, talk to me, because this is what's happening. And, this is what I would like. Can we try this? Can we do this? So, you know what? It's all about communication. I'm not going to cheat on someone because of the sex. I think that is the most immature, most stupid thing that someone can do.
Yeah. Agreed.
So my take on that is, I'm a big fan of her not being that great at sex, because you don't want to get into bed with a porn star and you'd be like, God dang, who have you been with? You know what I mean? So sometimes you want to be able to mold that joint. What's that snipping on Kanye's? Who told you that? Yeezy told me. Yeezy. So sometimes you want to mold the sexual woman you're going to become. I mean, don't come to the bed with all your tricks You know what I mean? Because you want to be kept at all.
100%. 100%.
I don't know if I completely agree with that, because like if I was ever with someone and I felt that they were more experienced or they knew stuff that I just didn't know and they were just completely blowing my mind, I would hope I wouldn't have that thought of like, who taught you that? I hope I would be more of the person that's like, oh, yo, that's dope. She could do that. Yo, let's do it again. You know, I'm really hoping that's the kind of person that I would be.
Well, I'm not saying it's a negative. I'm just saying it's cool that the question, Jay, the question. Don't disagree with me, man. No, I was just joking. I'm just messing with you. I'm messing with you. I'm saying as it pertains to the question, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I don't see a problem.
I get what you're saying, D, but you know what? I'm from the Caribbean and my waistline is naturally the way it is. So it's not because of experience.
Okay.
Snap. Oh, I know, right? Dang. Okay. We getting more and more in the dark here.
Windy hips.
I must admit though, every time I go to a club, if they had a Caribbean, Jamaican section, that's always where I was. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Every time.
Until that part happened.
I know, right? Time to go. Yo. All right.
Hey, Christina, we didn't see so many scary movies in the Asian culture. I'm like, there's a real kid in your house, right? There's a real kid in your house. Right?
Just walking around here naked. I know. It's like, what?
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh man, yo. So, watchers and listeners, if you have any topics that you would like us to talk about, I know, right? Any topics or thing you'd like us to discuss, please contact us by email at thebitethebulletshow@gmail.com. We will highly consider it. We love to hear from you guys. Connect with all of us online. Our usernames are in the screen names. If you're listening, they will be in the show notes. So, before we go, just real quick, we talked about a very serious thing: fairness, equality, all that stuff. If you feel like you are in an environment that isn't benefiting you, if you feel like you're in an environment that isn't okay and you don't feel safe and you feel truly that it's unfair, you need to talk to somebody. Higher management, outside counselors, you need to have the conversation. It's not easy. It's tough. I get it. But you need to do it to prosper and to be better.
There's resources out there. Yeah.
Exactly. And with that being said, this has been a dope bomb episode. And you guys are awesome. You rock, man. Can't wait to do it again next week. Next week, we'll be covering co-parenting. Is it possible? Ooh. And what should a healthy one look like? Ooh, man. Man, oh, man. All right. I can't with you, D. I can't. All right. So, with that being said, everyone, this has been Bite the Bullet, and we'll catch you all later.
Yeah.